Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanallazi asra bi'abdihi laylan minal masjidil haram ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله
God, exalted be He, says, "And we gave Moses the scripture, the Torah, and made it a guidance for the children of Israel, saying, that they should not choose beside me any guardian, to whom they delegate their affairs." A variant reading, for yadakidu, they should, not, choose, is tadakidu, you should, not, choose, thus turning away, from the third person address, in which case, the particle, n, that, is extra and the saying is implicit.
وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا.
Descendants of those whom we carried with Noah, in the Arkansas. Indeed, he was a grateful servant, giving thanks to us frequently, and offering praise in whichever state he found himself.
إنه كان عبدا شكورا.
And we decreed, we revealed, to the children of Israel in the scripture, the Torah, you shall indeed work corruption in the land of Syria, through acts of disobedience, twice, and you shall indeed become great tyrants, you shall perpetrate grave injustice.
وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب
So when the time for the first of the two prophecies, the first of the two occasions for corruption, came, we roused against you servants of ours of great might, men who are strong in war and assault, who ransacked, who came and went, seeking you out, through your habitations, in the very midst of your homes, in order to slay you and take others among you captive, and it was a promise fulfilled. Their first act of corruption was their slaying of the prophet Zechariah. So Goliath and his army were roused against them, and they slew them and took their children captive and destroyed the holy house of Jerusalem.
فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا بعثنا وكان وعدا مفعولا.
Glory be to him, an affirmation of God's transcendence, who carried his servant, Muhammad, by night. Laylan is in the accusative as an adverbial qualification. Isra means to travel by night. What is instructive about this mention of Laylan by night is that, through its being indefinite, there is an indication of the brevity of its duration, from the sacred mosque, that is, Mecca, to the farthest mosque, the holy house of Jerusalem, so called because of its distance from the former, the environs of which we have blessed, with fruits and rivers, that we might show him some of our signs, the marvels of our power. Indeed, he is the hearing, the seeing, that is to say, the knower of the prophets' sayings and deeds. Thus he, God, was gracious to him by way of carrying him on the night journey, which comprised his encountering the other prophets, his ascension to heaven and the sight of the marvels of the divine realm and his communion, exalted be he, with him. For he, the prophet, said, I was brought al-Burak, a white animal, larger than a donkey but smaller than a mule. It was able to place its hoof back towards its extremity, and so I mounted it. It set off carrying me until I reached the holy house of Jerusalem. There, I fastened the animal to the ring where the prophets fasten their animals. I then went in and prayed 2 units inside it. As I came out, Gabriel came to me with a jug of wine and a jug of milk, and so I chose the milk. Gabriel said to me, You have made the right choice, by choosing the primordial nature, fitra. He, the prophet, continued the narration. We then ascended to the heaven of this world, whereat Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, Who are you? He replied, Gabriel. And who is with you, Muhammad? He said. Has he been sent for? Yes, he has been sent for. Then it was opened for us, and lo! Adam stood before me, he greeted me and prayed for well-being for me. We then ascended to the second heaven and Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, Who are you? He replied, Gabriel. And who is with you, Muhammad? He said. Has he been called forth? Yes, he has been called forth. And it was opened up for us, and lo! There were the two maternal cousins, John and Jesus. They greeted me and prayed for well-being for me. We then ascended to the third heaven and Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "Gabriel, and who is with you?" "Muhammad, he said. "Has he been sent for?" it was asked. "Yes, he has been sent for." And it was opened up for us, and lo! There was Joseph standing before me, and indeed he had been given one half of all beauty. He greeted me and prayed for well-being for me. We then ascended to the fourth heaven and Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "Gabriel, and who is with you?" "Muhammad, he said. "Has he been called forth?" it was asked. "Yes, he has been called forth," he replied. And it was opened up for us, and lo! There before me was Enoch, Idris. He greeted me and prayed for well-being for me. We then ascended to the fifth heaven and Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "Gabriel." "And who is with you?" it was asked. "Muhammad, he replied. "Has he been sent for?" it was said. "Yes, he has been sent for," he replied. And it was opened up for us, and lo! There before me was Aaron. He greeted me and prayed for well-being for me. We then ascended to the sixth heaven and Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "Gabriel, and who is with you?" "Muhammad, he said. "Has he been called forth?" it was asked. "Yes, he has been called forth." And it was opened up for us, and lo! There before me was Moses. He greeted me and prayed for well-being for me. We then ascended to the seventh heaven and Gabriel asked to be let in. Someone asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "Gabriel, and who is with you?" "Muhammad, he said. "Has he been called forth?" it was asked. "Yes, he has been called forth," he replied. And it was opened up for us, and lo! There before me was Abraham, seated against the frequented house, Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur, into which 70,000 angels enter every day never to return thereto. I was then taken to the lote tree of the boundary, Sidrat al-296 Muntaha, and lo! Its leaves resemble the ears of elephants, its fruits like pitchers, in size. When some command of God's enveloped it, it changed, and lo! None of God's creation could describe it for all its beauty. He, the prophet, continued, God then revealed to me what he revealed and prescribed for me 50 prayers each day and night. I then descended until I reached Moses, and he said, "What has your Lord prescribed for your community?" I said, 50 prayers each day and night. He said, "Go back to your Lord and ask him for an alleviation, for your community will not have the capacity for it. I have tried the children of Israel and have experience of them, not being up to the task." I then went back to my Lord and said, "My Lord, lighten that prescription for my community," and so he reduced it for me by 5. I went back to Moses, who asked me, "What did you do?" I said to him, "He has reduced it for me by 5, to which he said, Your community will not have the capacity for this, so go back to your Lord and ask him for an alleviation for your community." Thus I kept going back and forth between my Lord and Moses, with him reducing it by 5 each time until he said, "O Muhammad, they shall be 5 prayers each day and night, every prayer will be worth the reward of 10 prayers, that then makes 50 prayers. And whoever intends a good deed but does not perform it, I shall count it for him as 1 done, and if he performs it, I shall count it for him as 10, and whoever intends an evil deed but does not perform it, it shall not be recorded against him, but if he performs it, it shall be recorded only as 1 evil deed." I then descended until I reached Moses. I informed him and he said, "Go back to your Lord and ask him for an alleviation for your community, because your community will not have the capacity for this." And I said, I have gone back to my Lord so many times that I am ashamed to go again. This hadith is reported by the two sheikhs, Al-Bukhari and Muslim, but the wording of this version is that of the report in the Sahih of Muslim. Al-Hakim al-Naysaburi reports in the Mustadrak by way of Ibn Abbas that he said, the Prophet said, I did see my Lord, mighty and majestic.